Welcome back. Real Tech Talk, episode number 51. We're getting back to the nuts and bolts, to the largest market in the real estate industry, and it is the residential brokerage space. The most agents of any of the industries that are out there when it comes to real estate. But what is actually effective to them? If you can capture that market, you've got an incredible business, because then you have an inherently advantage with so many people paying a SaaS platform. So on a macro thesis, makes a lot of sense. But does this company have what it takes in order to capture that market? I got my boy Nitzan from Centerya here. Sit down and pay attention.
That's why we're here, bro. This is Real Tech Talk. Boom shakalaka. So who the hell are you, bro? You know, what are you into? What do you do? Dude, you can keep it real here. Tell me about these real estate traders.
Eric Brody is the managing principal of CEMVC LLC. All opinions expressed by Eric and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of CEMVC LLC. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions. Clients of CEMVC LLC may maintain positions in the securities discussed in this podcast.
Welcome back, people. Real Tech Tizzle Talk number 51. You know, you've seen it based on 51 episodes. We've become this monster in this space and bringing you all different types of technology, attacking different spaces. Well, today, it's super important to get back to basics. The largest audience in real estate today, the largest army of humans, is in the real estate residential brokerage space, where there is so much innovation occurring, whether it's in social media, content creation. But today, what is that application to making that human sort of a superhuman? Well, I brought the guy trying to do that, my man Nitzan from Centerya. What's up, Playboy? Thank you for coming through.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Of course. It's always great being able to embarrass my guests before they ever get started. So thank you for being here.
I was waiting for the boom chakalaka.
That's what I'm talking about, right?
I heard some.
You heard some. You see, you've been listening. That's great. That's great. So listen, we've sort of switched up the format. We like to get into like the content even faster and then learn how you are the one to have bring this forward. So tell me in one sentence the name of the company and what you're trying to do, so our audience immediately is tied into it.
Yes, so we are Centerya. We are helping real estate agents and brokers to be more efficient, close more deals with data insights and also automation.
So it's really fascinating that you say that, because you can tell that technology sort of pitch has completely changed. You didn't say, oh, I'm replacing the broker. They're never going to be around anymore, right?
No.
Think of that thesis change, right? The thesis change used to be like, we're going to disrupt everything, right?
Yeah,
and here you're saying, which I think is totally appropriate, is I'm going to make you more efficient.
Exactly.
I'm going to make your day so that you're doing the tasks that are relevant, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's dope. Sounds great. But what the hell does that actually mean? Like, what are the things that you're doing?
So I think let's talk first of all about the problem.
Yeah.
And after that, let's go dive into the solution.
What's the problem?
Yeah. So let's think that you're a broker or you're an agent, right? You have your listings, you have your exclusives, and now you try to find the right buyers, right? So you'll go to your contact list, to your network list, go to Zillow, StreetEasy, post everything, and now you will try to wait to inquiries from people that want to buy the properties, right? So let's say you're a good agent and you get 100 new leads, and now you need to try to reach out to them. But if you're a very good agent, in the beginning you will try to learn or understand who are those leads, right? Because everything is in real estate is a personal, right? To buy a property is a personal. It's all about trust. So we'll try to find the common things in order to build this relationship. And then to understand, like, if the potential lead will be qualified to this lead. Maybe he did an inquiry of some property that he doesn't have the financial to do that. So you as an agent, you will try to find those data. So imagine...
So you want the most quality.
The most quality, but...
well, let's back up, though, because I think you've said a couple things that are really important to point out. So, you're a broker, right?
Right.
You have your listings. Where's the repository of that information? Is it accurate? Is it not? You're only human, right? So first is like, you get 100 new leads. Like, that's really important. You worked very hard to get that.
Right.
Now, what do you do with it, right? And I bet you many of them goes to waste, right? Or it's a piece of paper, or it's an Excel spreadsheet, super inefficient.
Exactly.
Next thing you said then was, there historically, right, the brokerage will say, make 500 calls, right? Like it's this grunt work of sort of like getting out and getting information on those leads and phone calls and driving that traffic, right?
Exactly.
So it's a super inefficient business, but we also say it's a numbers game.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So you as an agent will try to divide your energy to the right places.
Of course.
In order to close the deal as soon as possible, right? But imagine that you will have a tool that all of those 100 leads, you will get the profile on them. When the last transaction that they did, how much other property they owned in the city, what's their financial status, right? Does they have a loans? Does they qualify to this lead? So now you understand, okay, who I'm facing with, okay, who is the other side. So this is the first, I think, the most important value that we are bringing to the table, and also to find the common things between you as an agent and the buyer, because we know that in order to buy a property, it's a very personal, and you need to build a relationship.
So I think that there's a couple really interesting points there. So the first one is, there's a lot of complexity, right? You got to understand who that lead is and qualify them, right? And everyone says, yeah, you know, I do that. And there was this guy who wrote this book, Zig Ziglar, okay? And Zig Ziglar's thesis was like, here's 66 questions you have to know about every consumer, right? Like, when's their birthday? Do they have kids, right? So we're stating the same thing. Why? It's a relationship, right? But like, can you automate a piece of that? Well, Zig Ziglar's like, you got to document all this, right? So like, that's somewhat inefficient. And if you're saying that you've created an automation to learning about them, like, so what does that really mean? It means that in the moment of having the conversation with this person, you know about them.
So even before, in the inquiry, once you get the inquiry on the specific property, you will get the profile, even before you started the phone call. So you can be prepared for the phone call. You understand who is this lead. You know how to handle the conversation, and you know where to navigate in the conversation in order to take advantage. Because in the end of the day, you want to close the deal.
Right, and I think that what gets lost, what people don't understand, sort of in the value proposition. There was this guy, his name was Karl von Clausewitz, who was a Prussian general, and he wrote this book that no one should read because it's fucking long and boring, called On War, okay? And he had two theses. The first thesis was that war is an extension of politics. Okay, we see that shit all the time, but that's nothing relevant to this. But the second was, the generals who won the battles understood the complexity, weighted the averages, and were at the moment of like the most critical tipping point, that's where all their energy was, right?
Exactly.
So think about what Centerya is doing to the sales process. It's like, yes, you need to fucking drive a lot of traffic. You need to do this. You need to do all of these sort of mindless, brain-numbing, grunt work to be a great broker or a great salesperson, but you're never prepared in that moment at the transaction to be efficient, right? Exactly. So it's like, if you know about that human, in that moment, you're just more effective. Nobody said we've just sold it for you.
No.
We're just trying to prepare you for that moment, right?
To boost you, to be more efficient.
So tell me then, specifically then, the tools that create that efficiency to that broker. You gave me a case study on, you have 100 people coming in, but what's the tool? Because I feel like we lose that, and the broker who is, and I no disrespect to all of us in real estate, and by the way, I say it to myself first, we are Neanderthals. We don't know the technology that's out there. That's why we have shows like Real Tech Talk, right? So what is it from that real estate perspective? What's the tool? What's going to happen?
They will wake up in the morning, you will get the 100 leads, they will get the specific profile on the people, financially, family status, who are they, in order to understand how I build the best relationship with them and if they are qualified. And then we are moving to the next part. Then they will start the conversation with them, right? They will make a phone call or maybe an email and also a message.
But now they have data.
Exactly.
Right? Sort of being softer than, you don't really know me. It's, hey, I heard you have these 3 assets, right? You can at least have a conversation or even plug it into something.
Even more. Maybe we studied in the same place. Maybe we graduated in the same place. I know how much kids you have. I know if you are married, divorced, or, there are some events in life that make people buy a property.
So are you aggregating publicly available data into a database that would be valuable to a broker,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So that's step one. So
This
step
is the
one
step
is
one.
you don't have to deal with that research. We've created a crawler that creates a profile of this human from data points that we think are valuable when it comes to economic decisions in real estate.
Exactly. One source of truth. Exactly. No need to go and look manually over the internet. You have everything in one place. After that, when you are making the phone call or sending the email or the message, we are sitting on the interaction itself. So we are analyzing the phone call itself. And then we take the data that we have on the sentiment itself on the call, how you responded as a buyer, how did you react? Did you want, did you cooperate? Did you want to continue, set up a meeting and everything? So we analyzing all of this, and then I give an automation of that. So scheduling the meeting automatically, sending the documentation automatically. We are trying to streamline the process and automate the process for the agent. So imagine that you are one agent and you can duplicate yourself. You are always available. You are always answering the questions. You are always set up the meetings, and you know how much important it is to do the follow-ups, let's say, on time, to schedule the meetings on time.
All these examples are like just so relevant. Everyone could say that. I'm dealing in the capital market space, okay? It's also a marketplace between buyer, seller. For me, it's people who need capital with capital, right?
Yes.
And it's simple and easy to forget. So I went to a credit fund and they put out $400 million a year. They're trying to go to $1 billion. And I go, who do you go to for your investors? And they go, whoever we think about, meaning the human, right? Like there's no recallable database for them to pick up that information.
Exactly.
But to go back to what you're stating. So now it sounds to me that you're like, okay, broker, all interactions have value, right?
Exactly.
How can we record all interactions, right? Like, you know, and then give you insights automatically. Because if we just create, here's a summary of what you did, you're making them, again, they're more efficient because they won't forget anything, but now they have the action item. You're saying now we're going to automate that action item, right? So it's almost like if the process for a broker in a use case is like, I make these calls, then they come in, then I set up appointments. You're like, all we're doing is we're going to make you slightly more efficient within that space.
Exactly.
Right?
And focus on the meetings itself, because all the scheduling the meeting and sending the documentation and everything can be automated. And we want to let the agent focus on the physical connection and all.
And by the way, I agree with you, because we already know that cognitive labor is expensive. Labor is expensive.
Exactly.
If someone else can create that efficiency, it's Sam Altman who said there'll be $1 billion company where it's one person, right? And it's like, how? You're stating how, and you're attacking the real estate brokerage space, right?
Just to speak about the numbers, real estate agent a year making more than 4,000 different interactions. And the interaction can be a phone call, a message, or an email. It's more than 10 a day. He can't handle all of it. He can't remember who he talked with, who he didn't talk. He is not writing everything. So once you have a one-stop shop for them, a place which can analyze all the interaction itself and work for them, you can make them more efficient.
Okay, so now we've stated, fine. So first is you're going to get a data point and data on the person you're about to communicate with.
Exactly.
The next one is any interaction with that person is going to be recorded, and then there's going to be an automation at the end of it and or a summary of an action item, right? So that's step 2.
Exactly.
What, is there more products that you're thinking of, or like those first 2 are going to create that efficiency? That's our wedge into the market, and we'll go from there.
Exactly. So for startup, focus is very important. We know we want to now focus on this specific 2, let's say, values, but we already see that we can bring other values. If you want to do maybe the finance calculation inside the brokerage itself, because you know there are different splits, different commissions. So there are a lot of other features that we want to expand, but it's very important to be focused in the beginning.
This, Nitz, right?
Yes.
And that Nitz instead of Nitzan, you know what I'm saying? We're
The-
already on
the
that
boom
level. It's
chakalaka.
Nitz, you know? My boy Nitz. The biggest problem I think that the human has, right? And because they've been feeding all this tech shit, I've been talking about it, like, you know, what's the onboard process for someone, right? Because it's really about like, change everything you do and you get this benefit. Well, that's a really hard uphill sell. So like, what would be the difference to that person's life if they wanted to use your application?
So we try to do it as seamless as possible. Just download the application, a short sign up, also the onboarding. We are now working to make it like a 10 minutes onboarding time. So we know in the end of the day, the agents are not so tech guys, let's say, right? You
No.
need to work with them like as like fast as possible without guessing nothing.
Does it sit on their existing domains? Does it sit on all their, like, they're not changing much of anything,
No.
but a plug into what they're already
Just
doing?
applying, just plugging with API and a software inside on the phone call itself, and basically.
So you pick it up
that's
software on phone call, email, right?
and messages.
Okay, so I just want to do something just even crazier because this is where this is then going in a few years. So I was with my homeboy that has another tech company we actually had invested in. It's called Unity, right? And he's on his scooter coming to see me, right? And he's like, oh, hold on. And he clicks his glasses, right? And I'm like, what the fuck was that? And he's like, I use glasses now, right? What do you get from it? I can play music. I can take a photo. I can take a video. And he's like, and if I do a WhatsApp call, you can see what I'm seeing, right? And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, it's gimmicky. No problem. I go and get the glasses. Why? One, I'm like, he's cool. Since he's cool, I have to be cool. So I got to get the fucking glasses. The second thing is, think about the interaction that you stated. You picked up email. You picked up phone call. What about just a meeting, right? Imagine a meeting on WhatsApp or a meeting on Zoom can be recorded, right? You can layer in. What about now every action? Right?
Every action.
Everything, right?
This is the
with
vision.
so fine, it's your friend. I don't need you to be recording. But let's say it's business. Nice to meet you, right? You have regular glasses. Now I'd be the schmuck who's got the clear lenses that doesn't need it. But I'd be like, hey, and that means that interaction, the same process could be, because like you said, if you're a broker, you have all these interactions.
Right.
And I'm anal retentive and I'm super diligent, you're still going to miss.
Right.
Now you're saying it doesn't matter what happens, you don't miss.
Right.
That's more opportunity.
Right.
Right.
And you convert it into money, because in the end of the day, it's about closing more deals, right?
So that's what I think is super important. You're not stating that the broker will now close more deals. They're going to have more opportunities to be a good broker to close more deals.
Yes.
You're not saying that, when you use my tech, now you close more deals. The answer is probably there's more opportunity, there's more deal flow. But if you're a shitty broker, like there's nothing anyone can do to help you, right? Like what can I possibly do? Like
Nothing.
You have to have some charisma. You have to be doing something. But I can power you because an advantage of 1% over time wins.
Exactly.
September 17th to the 19th at the Venetian, Blueprint Vegas, baby. Now you're going to ask me what Blueprint is. Blueprint is the biggest real estate and technology conference in the country. Your boy is going to be there, and he's giving you a discount code. BlueprintVegas.com/annex. Put it down, save some money. But if you are fascinated and you keep watching us and listening, where do you think we meet most of those players? We get together, we chit-chat, we communicate. 17th and the 19th of September, the Venetian. Be there and come say what's up to your boy. So tell us about now where you stand. Are you have an MVP? Are you out there in the market? What's the deal?
So I think I will share more information about what we did on where, or basically about myself, so you can.
I don't want to know about you. No, I'm just kidding. Of course we want to hear why you, why this. Where did you come up? Look, I get to have these conversations every day with founders left, right, and center. So like I know probably where it came from,
Right.
but I'd love to hear. Like, how did you get into the real estate and tech game to get to this space where you're like, this
Right.
is what I want to be doing?
Right. So yeah, as you know, born and raised Israel, proud. Tech since young age. You know that there is one in the family that there is always a problem.
Always a weird one?
Always a problem with the computer. Okay, you can fix it.
That way, were you the one with the problem or the one who could fix it?
One who can fix it. Yeah, also with friends. So always near computers. High school. So I grew up in a small place in the north. In my high school, we didn't study computers. It was a specific high school. My mother came to me, which I owned everything to my mother. And she said, Nitzan, I think we should move you to another high school. We have 3 more classes that you need to take, 3 more years, 16, 17, 18. Let's move to another high school. And I was like, what? I'm here with my friends and everything. I think you have the abilities to be more, let's say, efficient in a high school where you can learn computers.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. So I listened to software. She's my best idol, and I moved. I moved to another high school, which I studied physics,
What do they call that? STEM, right?
computers.
Science, tech.
Yes.
Something in math.
Exactly.
Engineering and math.
Exactly. 3 years. And then, in 18, you need to go to the army.
Yes.
All my friends went to the army. No, I continued to 2 more years, computer engineering, which the army is paying for you in order to get you to specific units. So I've been in a specific unit in the Air Force, also tech, and then served 3 years in the army. And
That's
then,
post the extra 2 of studies.
exactly.
So you didn't get 2 years credit for, it's 2 plus 3.
So it's 2 studying and then 3 service in the
But in a
specific unit.
specific tech unit.
Yes.
Which is always fascinating because what I find interesting is there's a Machiavellian concept of the effective truth, which is like you actually had to apply the theory to life immediately in serious situations versus other humans. And I'm not talking about the politics of it all or anything, but like it has to work when you're dicking around with stuff. It has to actually do something and then work. Instead of we meet these founders, they're like, we think it works, and you're like, but you don't know, right?
Exactly. So after the army, I continued to first degree in computer science. Worked 15 years in the tech industries, from small companies to big companies.
In what role, though, right? I understand now the tech ecosystem. Were you an engineer? Were you
Yes.
programming it? Were you product manager? Like, what did you have to do?
So I started from the bottom, like from computer technical support, let's say, and then moved to customer support, and then moved to QA, and then to team lead, and then automation, and then short term in a pre-sale engineer. So I moved from a lot of tech roles. In the last one, I've been with my co-founder, which his name is Gilad. He's more than a co-founder. How he's in startup, he's like a family. We've been together 4 years in the same company. And we knew that we want to do something together. We knew that. He's coming also from a tech since young age. He was in the army in the Lotar. It's a combat unit, underground technologies and everything. And we said in the last October, beginning of October, okay, let's. This is the time we need to launch the company, and we launched. After that, what happened.
Well, no, but let's go back. So you had the tech background, but what about real estate? Or how did you even know that there was a problem in real estate?
Yes, sure. So it's very important. I co-own the family office with my family, which we raise money with from friends, relatives, and then invested in real estate. It can be selling. It can
only in Israel or
only in
the world?
Israel. Only in Israel. Only in Israel.
So
but
there was a real estate office.
A real estate office, a family office, raise money using local agents in order to buy or sell. So you saw how they handled the situation. You saw how much time take them in order to bring leads, in order to bring qualified leads.
Of course.
You see how much time they spend on unqualified leads. From the beginning, you can save that. So why you didn't ask the right question that he is not qualified financially? So why you do that? So I saw that, and he's also coming from the real estate background. His family is investing in Germany, in Europe. So we knew that we want to do something about this. So we launched the company, and then happened what happened on October 7. And then he went to reserves for a couple of weeks. And I was like, what we going to do? Like, you can't do nothing in Israel right now. There's no business. There's no nothing. So he came in November. And I said, look, Gilad, like, we have a situation now. We have a first prototype. We don't have, money. We didn't raise something. We had only one connection to a huge franchise here in New York. And I was like, listen, I think the best decision for us is I will book a ticket, flight to New York, and let's see what happens. Like, it's a big city. If you can make it in New York, you can make it everywhere, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
And to even take the risk.
Take the risk. And he said, I think you're right. I booked a ticket. I came here in the beginning of December, which was very cold.
Well, for you it is. For you, it's
my
like
God.
your face was melting off, But
oh my God.
For us, we're used to it.
I was like, why did I come here?
Not a good moment.
No, it was so cold. But long story short, from this specific point, we did a huge progress we were able in 7 months to raise $1 million, to have almost 10 customers, onboard 200 agents. We have 4 wonderful investors. One of them is a venture capital. We are now closing around with more fundraising. So this specific moment that we chose, that I will go to New York, now we understand that it's something that we can't, like, it was the best.
On a macro thesis, like, it was the moment, right? Transactions are down. People are trying to, and everyone's saying tech, but they're not explaining it appropriately. So when you came, it's like, here, you layer this on and boom, right? Like,
that's it.
You have to follow the protocol. We're going to give you the information, but you are growing as a result. And it was simple and it was easy, right? Yeah. But my question to you is, and this is just a question, why sell to others and not just do it on your own, become a massive company, and then just sell? Like, and I always ask this because it's a fork in the road. Should you be tech SaaS to everyone else, or should you be a brokerage using it and then just blowing everyone out of the water? What do you think?
It's a great question. We had this conversation. I think our goal, me and my co-founder, is to solve problems, big problems. If you try to solve a problem and build your own company and then try to expand, you cannot do that. You have your own company, and now it's a game of numbers. And what does it mean in numbers? Growing from 500 agents to 1,000 to 10,000. But you cannot expand. We want to change a massive amount of companies in the way that working today. So yeah, I can do it with myself, but I don't want. First of all, I don't want to deal with recruiting all day, because this is what the brokerages do, right? They recruit agents. This is what they're doing on a daily basis. We want to solve problems based on software, but to be able to expand. So I think this is the
right. It's maybe a more scalable approach. Business. It's a totally different approach. It's just I see a lot of founders having that discussion, right? Like, they came in as tech, they were selling to others, but everyone in real estate is so laggard. They're like, prove your thesis first. You're lucky enough that the barrier to proving that thesis is efficiency within that day. You're like, look, you did 500 calls. Yesterday did 50. Like, it's just obvious, right?
Exactly.
So, but a lot of other guys are like, trying to figure it out. And I'm like, why don't you be a real estate company and then under the hood is the tech versus, selling tech to others? But yeah, in your sense, I'd also say it's like there's a massive uphill climb with these massive companies with tons of dollars. Like, it's just, it doesn't, in your instance, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Also, this problem is not related only for brokers. Developers also, they have new development. They want to sell the properties. They are using agents inside. So you have a lot of, let's say, industries inside the real estate that have this specific problem. It can be brokers, it can be investors, it can be developers who is dealing with buying and selling a property.
How do you break through the noise? Because a lot of people are trying to attack the efficiency in the residential space, and we're going to help you. How do you get above that? Like, is it going to be marketing that's going to do it? Is it going to be word of mouth? Like, how are you going to get the word to project greater than everyone else trying to sell different things to the same audience?
I think it's all about bringing value to the customer in the end of the day. If you're using or trying to sell a product which you don't see, the agent is not seeing the value right away, is not going to use it. So it's good to do a marketing, and it's good to go big and to try to use some buzzwords. But in the end of the day, you need to bring value to the table. And I think this is what we do. We are able to bring value to the agent and the brokers, and they already see that an increase in the income. So
it's funny. It's like we're in this TikTok, Instagram, anything longer than like 15 second. Like, it used to be when I was a kid, they'd be like, oh, you watch too much TV. And it was like, commercials are going to be your attention span, right? Now it's even faster, right?
Yes.
So you have this one moment, and it's like, you have to make sure that your MVP is there. You have this one moment. They're going to try it. And if there's any hiccup, they're like, this was stupid, right?
Exactly.
And if you're able to get that wedge in and not say, oh, I'll give it 3 months and give it 6 months and it'll work. And if it's immediate, like you're already getting this feedback, like then it's super effective because that's just like the business of the future.
It's it's crazy. It's crazy to see like how you change their daily basis working with Excel, as you know, working on efficiency, and then you see that they can make more money. In the end of the day, they're making more money, so it's great for you because
it's obvious, right? If you've got a higher income, you're like, all right, like we're in it. All right?
Yes,
You know,
and
like-
we are willing to pay. So, and it's also a thing like in a startup. It's a huge difference between a user and a paying user. You know,
Yeah.
there is always this difference when the time coming to take the money. Can I pay you or should I pay you?
Right.
Do I get the value? So with our customers, we see that we
Not only are you getting them, they're paying.
exactly.
That's awesome. So where can people find you?
Mostly LinkedIn we're using. Now we hire 2 salespeople that we want to expand also outside of New York because we know that the market in New York, it's not the all US market, different markets.
Where are you going to be? Florida?
So we are targeting Florida, California, Texas. Those are the 3 main other markets that we want to.
So they find you on LinkedIn.
So LinkedIn, yes.
Where's your lead capture? Where are you bringing everyone else in? Is it
Yes, so-
Centerya.com? .ai, right?
Yes. No, Centerya.com. Centerya.com, yes. So this is the places. And for now, I think we will reach out to them. But as the time goes by, we will do another most of the campaign and marketing campaign and social media.
That's cool. That's cool. Listen, you started
great.
here, right?
Yes.
So usually this is our last question, which is always, look, we're all startups, we're founders, we are choosing the lifestyle that there is no time. It's just you work until it succeeds, right? What do you do in order to balance that all you're doing is sort of like working? What's your counterbalance to allow you to sort of execute in this like high risk environment?
So your question is about me, Nitzan, or like
Nitzan, just you.
It's a great question. It's a great question. Trying to be in shape.
Yeah.
Which is
I agree. Fitness is like 80% of it.
It's everything, man. It's everything. But remember that I left everything, right? I left my family, my friends. I didn't see my co-founder for the last 7 months.
Yeah.
I recruit 8 people without see them in person. It's crazy. I recruit everyone on Zoom, and I didn't see them. I want, but I need to wait now for my visa to be applied. So yeah, but I think it's all about resilience, consistency, and keep pushing forward. So if I speak for myself, doing things for me. I go out with people that I know here, training, do the stuff that I love, playing basketball, which I love, tennis, and it's very important to find a balance, as you said.
I think what like also is like so unique is, you're a part of a heavy conflict, right? That weighs on you, right? You have real conflict occurring in the world. In addition, you came here with nothing. You build a business. You don't have others, yet you have something called fortitude, which is sort of making it look and working your ass off under all of these pressures to succeed. And I think people need to hear that, no matter what issues you may have, you can still get out there and take the risk.
Exactly.
And it's starting to work. And I call it the immigrant mentality. There is no turning back. Where are you going? What are you doing? It either works or it doesn't. And people need to realize that you have to put yourself in that situation to get anywhere.
Exactly.
Well, I appreciate your time, brother. And
thank you so
we'll
much.
see you out there in the field, bro.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Listen, the way that it works, okay? And people don't understand is you got to meet the human where they're at. If you tell them that there's this tech platform, but you're going to have to change their entire infrastructure, they're not going to use it. You can download an app today and all of a sudden it's working on 99% of the things you do without even worrying if it integrates or not with APIs. He's saying he's brought forth a tool that's going to immediately make you more efficient with onboarding for just a few minutes. That means that even if it costs you money to try it, it's not disrupting everything that you're doing. How could you not try it to see if it works? Will it be effective or not? He's stating it's going to increase your ROI. It's going to increase your bottom line. In my personal opinion, you have to be the greatest agent. You need to have tools that make sense, and that is what's going to be the future of the brokerage game. So in my opinion, this could very well be a medicine, but the point is, it doesn't take much to test it out. Your barrier to entry in using this is minimal. So get out there and try it. What's the worst that's going to happen? You lose a couple minutes of your life, but the best that could happen is you're more efficient in closing more deals. I don't know. That seems to be a win-win situation for me. I'd pay attention to what he's doing.